Hey guys, what's up? Hope you're all doing well. So this video is a request, and since I only have one exam left this semester, I feel like I can basically make it. Um, so it's basically a recap of the whole first year of CRNA school and kind of what I learned and a bunch of other things that you guys wanted to know. So I was thinking about how to say what I wanted to say, so I think I'm just gonna probably start with an analogy because I think it makes the most sense. So I feel like when you're an ICU nurse, you learn how to take care of patients, right? And then once you take care of a bunch of really sick patients in a row, you basically get your flow, you know what to do. It's kind of like riding a bike. Like once you do it a couple times, you're pretty set. So you get to CRNA school and you know how to ride a bike really well. It feels like you've done it forever, but then someone comes up to you and they're like, who the hell taught you how to ride a bike like that? Like, what are you doing? This is wrong. This is how we're gonna do it. And you're like, pretty sure I know how to ride a bike, but okay. So you do it their way and it's all well and good. But before they leave, they pop one of your tires and they say, this is gonna be the hardest 3 years of your life. And you're like, all right. Another person comes up 10 minutes later and looks at how you're riding the bike and they're just like, no, this is wrong. Like, we got to do it my way. You're like, oh my God, okay, whatever. And it just goes on and on and on for 12 hours straight. And that's kind of what it's like being in the OR and just starting this new process. So I think I learned a lot this year about just being a little bit more flexible. I am very stubborn, and a lot of people that come into CRNA school are very type A, and they stay like that, but you have to be okay with change and everything that comes with that. So I've said it before, my first semester was completely didactic, and looking back on it now, that was the easiest semester by far. Basically, all we had to do was just learn anesthesia and pharmacology and stuff like that. There was no stress about clinical or anything like that, and honestly, I took it for granted. It was really not, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The next 2 semesters, adding in clinical is just insane because you're still in a bunch of classes, and it's just being in the OR is so just anxiety provoking. Every day I would walk in, be anxious, be a hot sweaty mess. I would go to intubate someone like this, and on top of it you have all these different personalities. You're working with anesthesiologists and CRNAs, and everybody has their way of doing something. So sometimes if you just do something because that's how someone did it yesterday, and then you bring it into your practice that day, people are going to be like, what the hell are you doing? And you're like, oh my God, I just learned how, someone just showed me this, but it's not their way, so it's not okay. And you have to just be willing to do what they want to do and just accept it and nod your head and say, okay. But it's tough because a lot of people, you do one thing wrong and the rest of the day is rough. And then you're working with surgeons. So my first day of being in the OR, I got ringed out, screamed at in front of the OR nurses, the scrub nurse, my preceptor, by the surgeon, for something. It was an ENT room. I don't even remember what it was, but it's just, you have to have a thick skin. And honestly, it just was a prelude to kind of how the next 3 years are gonna be. But not in a way that oh my God, you're gonna get yelled at every day, but you will be critiqued every single day, and you have to be okay with that and just take it in and take what you will with it. Not everyone is gonna give you good criticism. Sometimes it's just gonna be I didn't like how you held that blade. But you just have to roll with it, honestly. And some people will give you great feedback, and you just have to kind of get used to it. And unfortunately, it's part of school's accreditation, so you'll be critiqued every day, and you just have to not let it get to you. Our school does journals, and I'll go back and read mine from when we started in clinical in August, and I'm like, oh, that really wasn't a big deal. But at the time, I'm sure I thought about it that night, the next day, about everything I did wrong, and you can't be like that. You have to get over it. So I think a lot of things that I, like, at least that I learned or garnered from this experience so far is like being flexible and just being okay with you're not going to be perfect. No one comes into anesthesia school and is like a kick-ass provider. It takes time. The other thing that I wish people talked about more, because it just doesn't hit you until you're in it, I guess, is this experience is really isolating. It's very polarizing, really makes you reevaluate and think about the relationships that you have with your family and your friends, and even like romantic relationships, like your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whatever. Like it's really hard. Like I feel like I've missed out on a lot of things that have gone on in my life, like my friends having babies and weddings and graduations, because you just don't have the time. And the experience is it's polarizing. Like you don't realize how long you're in the library studying, and like all these, life goes on. People will die. Like I lost someone really important to me this year, and it's just like you don't even have the time sometimes to like process what even happened, because you have to keep moving even though like life is going on around you. And it's hard, honestly, and it's something that no one talks about, how hard it is. And our school like said, going into our second semester, like there's always an increase in the utilization of CAPS or the counseling services, and I can honestly see why, because it's just an adjustment that no one can prepare you for. And I mean, everyone handles it differently, but like you just realize that you can't give as much time to the people that you love, and like relationships will fail. They will. And I hate to say it like that, but like it is tough to, be able to dedicate time. You just don't have enough time. Like I wish sometimes I could just like freeze time, honestly, and be able to give like everyone in my life like the time that they deserve, and you just can't do that. And it's hard. But I think I've grown a lot as a person this year. When I started school, I was just about to turn 25, and now I'm just about to turn 26. And I think of all the years in my life that I can remember, this one is probably the most pivotal, because I feel like there's been such a change in me, and like being a little bit stronger of a person throughout this whole experience. So in a way, I'm really excited for the next 2 years, because I really do love learning about anesthesia and doing anesthesia and working with the patients. That's like my favorite thing, honestly, is meeting all the patients in pre-op. But it doesn't come without sacrifice. And unfortunately, nothing that is worth it, to me, at least to me, nothing that is worth it is ever super easy. And this process isn't easy, but I wouldn't change one thing. I wouldn't change moving away from my friends that were in Baltimore. I wouldn't change going to the program that I went to, because I'm like very much happy with the outcome so far. But that being said, it is just like a life-changing experience. So I hope that you guys are still like interested in it, even though, I don't mean to make it sound hard. It is so worth it, but it is, like I said, if you're willing to like have a life-changing experience, this is definitely it. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Good luck.